A little over 2 years ago, I thought I'd finally found my place. My Cav Scouts and I had just gotten recognized for performing well during a big training event. I was in better shape than ever, and I felt like I was actually doing something right for once. Naturally, though, it couldn't last forever. I got word from home that someone close to me had gotten some bad news from their doctor, and everything started spiraling. When I wasn't working, I was researching or asking around for advice from other medics on how to improve things, and the whole time I was petitioning my unit to let me use some leave time to get things put in place so that everything could get fixed. But every request I made got denied, and eventually my platoon leader at the time made some kind of deal that led to me getting 2 weeks to get things figured out. When I got back, I found out that 2 days after I left, one of my newer guys had done about the worst thing you can do. I'm not going to go into specifics for obvious reasons, but it was something that sent pretty big shockwaves through our group as well as anybody in the general area. During the investigation, I found out a lot of stuff that made me feel so many things I couldn't even put them into words if I tried. For 2 or so months after, I stopped talking unless I had to. Not to friends, the chain of command, nobody. I had no way of knowing who else was secretly a monster. The friends I had already made knew I wanted space, and I didn't want to get too close to anyone else in case they turned out the same later on. After a few days of shock, everything settled in the back of my mind, and I felt nothing but hate. For him, the army, most people. How could this have happened? How could he have been smiling to our faces and been a demon the second he left work? Most of all, how could I not have seen that something was wrong? Me, the medic, who my guys came to when they felt sick, who knew everything about them, their favorite movies, shows, childhood stories, their likes, dislikes, all the way down to what each of them would forget when we went out to the field so I could bring extras. How could I not have seen that something was wrong? I was already thinking about it all day, every day, and most nights I woke up in a cold sweat with the most horrible things still echoing in my ears from the dreams I was having from it. I thought I was losing my mind. By this point, my circle of friends had shrunk pretty considerably, and the ones I did still have knew how I felt. One of my closest friends told me I needed to talk to the Army therapist after I told him about the dreams and how they kept on getting worse, and eventually I did. I had to talk to a representative for something called Mission 100, which is essentially a mental health light treatment. Usually you'll go talk to them once a week for a month or so, and then they'll make a decision on whether you need to go to the main mental health place or keep seeing them for a little tune-up, so to speak. She was a nice old lady and offered me snacks and told me all the things that she thought was cool in Alaska to break the tension, and it worked. And then I told her everything, and she said she wanted me to go to the main mental health people the next morning and ask them about some specific treatment that I honestly can't even remember. Looking back, I wish I just kept going to talk to her once a week. The next morning, I went to them just like she told me to and should have walked right back out. They said I couldn't just come in and tell them what treatments they were going to do, and when I tried to tell them it was just what I'd been recommended to ask them about, I just got blown off. Eventually, I finally got screened and given an appointment and went on about my business. After about a week or so, I had my first official appointment. And it consisted of me being introduced to my therapist and them having me write down what was going on. The second was the same, and during this, they said that writing about the dreams and my feelings would help me to get past it, but they just got worse. I was having them 3 nights or so a week before, and after the second session, it was happening every night. I told them I wanted to try something different, but got the old trust the process. And eventually I'd done 5 sessions over the course of 2 or so months. After that 5th session, I said it still wasn't working and that I understood I was supposed to think I shouldn't feel the way that I was feeling about it, but I still did. After some back and forth, the therapist I had been dealing with told me that they did what they could, and unless I was thinking of taking that express ticket to Judgment Day, there was nothing else they were going to do. I was worse off than at the start, and I didn't really know what I should do about any of it, and I was and still am in a constant cycle of just staying up as long as possible to avoid the dreams and then getting sleep a couple hours at a time when I'm too tired. A few weeks after flunking out of therapy, I was helping with a retirement physical for one of the first sergeants I worked with for a long time. He was without a doubt one of the best leaders I've ever worked with and always made sure that his troops were taken care of. The kind of person you worked really hard for because you genuinely respected them. I got tired of being on the line, Doc. It caught me by surprise. So we'd just been reminiscing about old times when we were waiting for the provider to come in. The truth was I missed it a lot. I missed my guys, how they went crazy over Disney princess band-aids and the joking around after movements. Sure, it was hard work, but I missed all of them. I figured he'd just say the same thing that everybody else did. It's not your fault. You can't control what he did, blah, blah, blah. But he didn't. He went on to say how he had a lot of guilt about stuff that happened with him too, and how it never really goes away. The only thing that he could offer in terms of advice was that I have to understand if I did my best and it happened anyways, I'll just have to take it as a bad person doing a bad thing. Not those exact words, but you get the gist. I try to remember that when things get bad. It's not even so much the advice that meant so much to me. It was that he understood where I was coming from. That I'm not alone. I can't lie and tell you it's gotten better. I still have those nightmares every time I sleep. I still have to blast music in my ears to keep from thinking about it. And I feel exactly the same as I did 2 years ago, with the anniversary being hard for me both years, but knowing I'm not alone has helped a little bit. I wish that there was a happy ending to tell you, but the only happy ending would be undoing what was done, and it's just not possible. What I can say is that if you are in a bad situation, get out. People care about you, and the world is better with you in it. If they truly loved you, they wouldn't mistreat you. Regardless of age, gender, sexual orientation, anyone can be a victim or a perpetrator, and nobody that cares about you will encourage you to stay in a relationship that isn't safe. Love shouldn't hurt.